All right, we're live again here from PlebLab Startup Day. I'm here with Simon Smith of Customer Deposit Registry. So Simon, man, coming all the way across the pond, man. How you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here in Austin. We've been here 9 days now, really getting immersed in the Bitcoin community. I've got to say, it's fantastic. It really is the Bitcoin capital of America.
Yep, for sure. So, why don't you tell us, for those who don't know you, who are you, and what are you working on?
So yeah, I've been in the Bitcoin space. I've owned Bitcoin for about 10 years, but in the last couple of years, I've really gone down the rabbit hole, understanding Bitcoin, what it really is, how it really is a potential replacement for fiat money and an improvement on the banking system that we've all had before. So I've really kind of found a huge amount of enthusiasm for it, and it's made me want to start to build applications within the Bitcoin space where I see gaps and opportunities to make things better. I've sat down and figured out how to build systems that make the ecosystem work better.
Okay, so yeah, like, what do you mean by the UK system work better for these dumb Americans like myself?
Well, not so much the UK system, just the ecosystem of Bitcoin. Yeah, because
okay, maybe I misheard you.
No, that's fine. It's yeah. So for me, Bitcoin, the main use case really is like limited supply. 21 million Bitcoins means you don't have an issuing authority that will issue more in order to enable the government to spend more money than they're taking in taxes. That's the problem with the fiat system, is the banking system is used to finance government deficits. Ultimately, if they consistently do that the way they are doing, the expectation it's going to lead to hyperinflation, which could be a real problem for society, people losing the value of their savings, people on pensions that end up, the pension payments will end up being virtually nothing, and they won't be able to use those payments that they've saved during their working life. They won't be able to support themselves in retirement. So we've got some real potential problems coming down the line just because governments have overspent. They've managed finances very badly, and they are in a lot of debt, and they seem to be trying to use the fiat money system to bail themselves out of it. And we can, most of us in Bitcoin, we can see this is not going to end well. But yeah, I think the customer deposit registry is really kind of taking a look at the Bitcoin ecosystem and saying, well, hang on a minute, there's a number of situations here within the Bitcoin ecosystem where we're actually printing money as well. I mean, not me as in you and I personally, but there are custodians. The classic example will be Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX that we saw go down last year. He was effectively printing Bitcoin because he had customers putting money in there. He showed them numbers on the screen that they thought was Bitcoin, but in reality, there wasn't enough Bitcoin there in the company wallet to back the claims that the customers thought they had. This is potentially a problem with every exchange and potentially every custodial wallet that exists within the Bitcoin ecosystem. The reality is that we believe that 10% of the Bitcoin that exists is out on exchanges, but I don't know about you, a lot more than 10% of the people I know that have Bitcoin have it on exchanges. So it's quite likely that, if the music stopped tomorrow, a lot of people would find that they don't actually own any Bitcoin after all.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that makes complete sense. And I agree. Like, the paper Bitcoin is definitely a huge issue. And I think, personally, that it probably suppressed the price a little bit during the last run up, right? I mean,
massively so. Yeah, there's loads of fake Bitcoin out there. It would have gone a lot higher. It's basically the demand that would have gone into actual Bitcoin and really kind of constrained the market and pushed the market a lot higher was literally going to custodial situations, which were literally paper Bitcoin. So it dampened the price, dampened demand. But ultimately, it's conning a lot of people. People think they're getting something that they're not.
100%. So, all right. So what is the goal what is customer deposit registry, and like, what is the end goal of it?
Yeah, so customer deposit registry is a network. So we've created software. We've got the MVP up and running. It's a application that a custodian can run. So let's say you're an exchange and you want to prove to your customers that you're holding all the Bitcoin that you're supposed to for their customer accounts. So you would spin up a node on this network and you would submit data to the network, which would be a list of all your customers with their balances. But the email address would be hashed. So it's anonymized data, but it's still identifiable. It's like a zero knowledge proof. You'd also show your Bitcoin wallet address. So when your data is shared with other nodes in the network, they can verify that the addition of all the balances of all your customers match what's in the wallet. Your customers then act as your auditors. They're the decentralized auditors because they can go to any node on the network. They can put their email address into the website on that node, and they will automatically be emailed the balance that has been represented in that file. So if that doesn't match what they've got on the exchange, then we know that the exchange is not acting correctly. They're effectively fractional reserve banking. You could call it that. It's money printing. Basically, it's stealing from their customers.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a way to kind of, I guess, like help fight some of the bad actors, theoretically, right?
Yeah, it's a way of empowering customers to be able to verify. They don't have to trust anymore, because that's what we have. Bitcoin is amazing and it's limited in supply. That's the base layer. We've now got to build this trust layer on top, just because self-custody is really just hard. I don't know how you feel about it, but having those 12 words.
I mean, it's
storing
intimidating
it,
to say the very least, right? I mean, the more times you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. But I mean, for somebody, I mean, like my parents, for example, like they're somebody that's had money in their bank account their whole time, right? I mean,
yes.
they carry cash, but they carry just like a certain amount, right, as like a safety thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like now it's kind of like, I don't know, like I open my wallet right now, I have no cash, right? I mean, it's kind of like a cashless society. People don't necessarily, carry cash, but it's something where you were kind of born and raised on like, hey, the bank is where your money is safe, right? And as we've seen with Silicon Valley Bank and like what happened in 2020, where they kind of like eliminated, or they they started the fractional reserve banking, like your money is not actually there, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is something that Bitcoiners have kind of understood and realized, but I think like for the normie population, they're still not there yet.
Yeah.
So I think that this is what you're doing right here is like, hey, I see this certain section of people, this population that, has noticed this problem with conventional banking, but also sees the problem without like kind of like an unregulated industry, because like as it stands right now, it's kind of like exchanges are, I mean, like in the United States, they're starting to crack down a little bit with the SEC, but it has been kind of the Wild West for some point in time, was let like people like Sam Bankman-Fried operate and things like that. So, do you see this as kind of almost like an intermediary, I don't even know if I'm saying that word correctly, step, where it's like, we've had the Wild West of like FTX and all that kind of stuff, but, there is a place maybe for like a Cash App, a Strike, a Coinbase, maybe even like some of these other guys, but, you need somewhere like a customer deposit registry to, essentially, kind of verify that, just to show that they're protecting their customers as they kind of claim they are.
Yeah. I think, as you say, the Bitcoiners have known this for a while. I mean, to my knowledge, no one's really come up with a solution that actually verifies the liabilities of an exchange. Lots of people talk about proof of reserves, where an exchange will show their wallet address and that will be identifiable as having at least some Bitcoin on chain. But whenever they do that, there's not a way of verifying how many customers will claim over that Bitcoin. So what we've tried to do is to create this way that the customers, a sample of them, can provide a confidence level that the overall exchange is correct. And we've run some numbers on it, and we found that if 0.4% of the customers come and do the check, that gives a 99% confidence that the exchange is sound overall. So
only 0.4%.
That's it. It's based on 100,000 customers. If 0.4% come through,
how many is that? Like 40?
It's 400, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
400.
that's
okay.
it. Yeah,
so it's. Well, I'll delete that. But no, but I'm
we could have that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a huge number of customers. I think in the Bitcoin world, we're all paranoid enough to want to do the check. It's there for the customers. It's actually there for honest exchanges to prove that they're doing the job correctly. And it benefits the entire Bitcoin ecosystem, because ultimately it means there's going to be less fake Bitcoin out there. Mm-hmm. And that's what we really want. We want it to be better than the old system. We don't want the problems of the old system. And I think, the auditability of the Bitcoin blockchain is a use case that people don't talk about a lot. It's the fact that it is auditable by anyone in the world. I mean, if you look at the equivalent former base asset that we had that was gold, in order, the gold in the vaults that was used to back the paper notes, that would have been audited, but it would have been, an auditor that was employed by the bank would go in and check that the bars of gold were there. Whereas with Bitcoin that's held in a wallet or in multiple wallets, it can be verified by anyone in the world that can use Block Explorer. So it really is, it's decentralization. It gives a much stronger verification that the assets are actually being held by the custodians that hold them. So I think we've got a real opportunity here to do something better than has ever existed in the past.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. So like where are you in this journey with your company, and like kind of what is the next steps that you're looking to build towards?
We've built an MVP. We have 4 nodes up and running where they're all verifying each other and with some test data, making it possible for people to come and put their email addresses in and run the test through to prove that it works comfortably. We're in the process of trying to make contact with custodians. So if anybody out there listening has contact with exchanges or custodial wallets, and they think we could make an introduction and run some testing with those custodians, then we're open to talk to anyone that can help us out on that side of things. But yeah, it's going to be a process. Rome wasn't built in a day, and certainly I think it took them about 20 years to actually finally release the Bitcoin code, from starting in the 1990s to trying to create a decentralized currency. These things don't get built quickly. So we're going to be some years in getting this one over the finish line, but we know there's real value in it for the community, for Bitcoiners, and for the future, for the world, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So talk about, like, you've been in Austin for like 9 days, right? You extended it a little bit to come to Startup Day today. So talk about your experience down here in Austin, and like how is this kind of, has it helped you any being here for this 9 days? And like, are there anything that you're going to take away from your time here?
Yeah, I've got to say it's been amazing. We've really enjoyed it. I mean, I've got to go back today, unfortunately, but yeah, one of my colleagues is staying here for another month because he likes it so much. I would like to stay longer, but yeah, I mean, honestly, we've met so many nice people. People are really very, very willing to help, to talk to us about how Bitcoin works, how Lightning works, to help us out with our coding problems. We've done a Lightning course with Base 58 that was amazing. Would definitely recommend that with Lisa. And the thing that's really going to hold it all together is PlebLab. The fact that you have this physical location that people can come to every day, sit and work, hang out, and learn things from other Bitcoiners is just a great experience. I really hope we can get something like this in the UK, either in London or in Bedford. We really look forward to having that space. But yeah, thank you to Peter McCormack from What Bitcoin Did, because it was his podcast with Carr from PlebLab that gave us the idea to come here and spend some time here. So yeah, it's been great to visit Austin, and we look forward to coming back again soon.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so outside of like an accelerator, and like, some of the other things, it seems like there is like kind of a growing Bitcoin scene in the UK, right? I mean, I had Bitcoin Racing on my podcast last week. Obviously, you mentioned Peter McCormack and the soccer team he's got there. So it's a little bit of a more, I guess, unique twist to things, it seems like, right? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of sport kind of integrating with like the Bitcoin marketing kind of things. So, for somebody who hasn't been over just yet, how would you kind of describe, I guess, the Bitcoin scene in the UK?
Yeah, I went to one of the Bitcoin racing events. They had that in a brewery where they have set up with the sim racing. The guys there, very enthusiastic. They're all kind of been in the car racing scene for quite a while. They're very enthusiastic about Bitcoin, and they're putting it together in a really interesting way. Peter's guys' football team, who I'm going to go watch on Saturday. There's a Bitcoin meetup before that. It'll be the cool crowd that I normally hang out with at the Bitcoin meetups in London. So we have those with London Bitcoin Space. They run quite often. I think it's about once a week now they run those. They've got a really good spot where we pay for our beers with Lightning on a rooftop in London Bridge.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have the permanent space, but we've got a lot of different events going on. People are working hard to build a community there. So I think, over time, it's going to build and get bigger and stronger.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely sounds like it's trending in that direction. So, all right. So what's next for you? Like, what did you, kind of expect to get out of Startup Day? And like, what are you kind of looking forward to for, customer deposit registry? Is it something like funding, or is it something like other developers? Like, are you looking for maybe some help in that aspect? Like, how can somebody help you?
Yeah, I'd say we're definitely open to new developers. I've been funding the project since the beginning and paying developers out my own pocket to get it to where it is. So we're not really kind of wanting to spend a lot of time on looking for funding. If we found the right partner that came along and could give us good contacts and good introductions, then we'd definitely be open to that. But yeah, for us at the moment, it's really about getting some really good test sites set up to start to build the network. And we really hope that when people use it and they find it works, that they will introduce us to other people that could join the network as well. It really is something that as the network builds, it's going to generate its own value. And those that come in early, as always, the early adopters will benefit more by being there. They will be able to help build what could become a self-regulating body for the Bitcoin community.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, where can people follow along and figure out like what you got going on, like kind of the progress of your company and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn. We'll post both of those links in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we're out there. We're posting quite regularly. We've not been super loud about the application so far, but I think it's time we started shouting about it and telling people what we're doing. So yeah, if you're interested, connect with us there in whatever capacity you think you might be able to help. We're open to conversation.
Yeah, for sure, man. And thanks for coming in and spending some time with me a little bit before your flight. And I appreciate you meeting you. And maybe I'll make the trip over to UK. I mean, I told those guys Bitcoin Racing, they said I could drive the car, so maybe I'll come over, drive the car, and I can.
You will be very welcome. Yeah, look us up when you come over that way. It'll be great to see you and have some beers. And if we do the Bitcoin Racing event or the football event, I'm sure you'll enjoy both.
For sure, man. For sure. All right, cool stuff, man.